Wyoming Armory, right here in the heart and soul of American Vintage Firearms, Cody, Wyoming. Now today we're not going to bring you one of those really fun shooting episodes that I enjoy making so much, but this might be one of the most important episodes we've ever made, especially if you ship firearms. And of course here at Wyoming Armory, the vast majority of the guns we work on get shipped to us, and then when we finish them, we ship them on back to their customer. And we're seeing more and more damage, even with firearms that on the surface look like they were packaged pretty well. And case in point, this kind of a heartbreaker that just came to us recently. This is an 1886 Winchester. Another gunsmith was just in the final stages of restoration and sent it to us just for a little fitting job on the fore ends. He had replaced the barrel with one of those mail order barrels that we warn you about. Dovetail had been cut in a little bit wrong place, so we needed to just maybe a 20-minute job to fit this fore end in here on this new barrel. And then the job was done. Unfortunately, when it came to us, as you might see, the buttstock's at a little bit of a strange angle. This buttstock's been broken off in shipping, and both the upper and lower tang are busted completely across. So what was started out as a 20-minute job to finish off a pretty expensive restoration now turns into a major undertaking now to correct all this. We're going to have to refit the buttstock and then, of course, re-weld these tangs on, polish them all back, and then anneal and recolor case this receiver. A major undertaking on what should have been a 20-minute job. So stick around with us. We're going to show you why this particular gun, this happened, even though it looked like it was packaged pretty well, and what you can do to avoid it if you ever in a situation where you need to ship a firearm or have one shipped to you. Make sure and insist on how it's packaged so that it gets to you in one piece rather than, well, several. Okay, so it's pretty obvious we see this big gap down here between the bottom of the buttstock and the receiver, that at some point during shipping this toe took a mighty blow and just forced that whole end of the buttstock upwards. And of course, for it to be able to do that, it had to give somewhere. And unfortunately, where it gave is right here on the tang. See that lower tang? Boy, it not only broke, but it opened it up 3/8, maybe a half an inch. And of course, the upper tang as well. There's a real weak spot on upper tangs, and it's right at the back of the hammer, that groove that the hammer rides in. So it's broke right across here and right across here. So we've got a big job in front of us to fix this thing up right. And you notice there's a little wood missing here. There's actually a little sliver on the bottom. Fortunately, we found those in the packing, and we'll be able to reattach those. I think we'll be able to save the stock. Now the real challenge here is to be able to weld these tangs back up and get them perfectly straight so that this stock that was so well fit is going to fit when the tangs are put back together. And typically we use the opposing tang to help us to line everything up, but of course the opposing tang on this is busted as well, so it's going to be a real challenge to get this all lined up properly. Now, it might surprise you to find out that this 86 was shipped inside a plastic gun case. And of course, we encourage people to ship in these gun cases. It's very good protection. But where they're very much lacking is in protection on the ends of the firearms. Now, they're great for packing a firearm around. If you're got one you're putting in the back of your pickup to take out hunting, or take into a show or something, and you're packing by hand. But when it comes to shipping, they're woefully inadequate on both the muzzle end and the buttstock end. They need some kind of help to protect the ends of these firearms. And now this particular firearm was shipped through the post office, but we're seeing mishandling by UPS and FedEx as well, and we still use the post office because UPS and FedEx have made shipping firearms so much more difficult lately. But of course the choice is up to you if you're shipping. Now what's really surprising is if you look at this box that this firearm and this case were in, there's really no indication that there was a severely damaged firearm in here. Until you look a little bit closer at the bottom, and both of these corners have been accordioned big time around that plastic case. So if I had to guess, I'd say somebody picked this up out of the back of a truck and gave it a big toss to their buddy like that, and while their buddy was just turned around to do something else, and that thing flew through the air and had to have hit the ground at a high rate of speed, and there was just absolutely nothing to slow that firearm down from when it stopped, dead stop on the pavement somewhere or concrete, from just slamming into the bottom of that the bottom of that case. And we can actually see some damage in the bottom of the case from when this occurred. Okay, so we can see right in the end of the case where this toe slammed into the plastic here and put a big divot there in the plastic. Now, fortunately for the case, the rifle took most of the brunt, so the case didn't get damaged too horribly. And yes, of course, that's sarcasm. Now, we still encourage people to use these plastic cases to ship firearms. I think they're the best protection. But remember that they don't offer 100% protection. We have to help them out some, and particularly on these ends. Now, as I surmise, this thing being thrown out of the back of a rig and then hitting the ground, probably doing 50 miles an hour. And these eggshell pads aren't going to do much of anything to slow that down. So guess what? When it stopped instantaneously, that rifle was traveling at, you guessed it, 50 miles an hour or close to it, until it hit and stopped instantly on the bottom end. So, you know, get some foam padding like this in the end. We use bubble wrap around the end, several layers of bubble wrap. But the big thing is to take up that space so that that firearm can't slide back and forth. And again, bubble wrap around the entire firearm, because they can move laterally as well if they're dropped that way. So, you know, ship them in these plastic cases, but protect them really well. And, you know, when you get them all packaged up, shake them and make sure that firearm isn't moving in there. Package these things as if you think they're going to be mistreated about as badly as they possibly can. Because, you know, from time to time they are, and this is a perfect example of it. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, boy, I hope that gunsmith insured that beautiful 86 before he shipped it out there to Wyoming Armory. And he did. But here's the kicker. If you have a firearm damaged, at least with the post office, and they pay the claim, which is, they make that extremely difficult, you don't get your firearm back. They don't just pay to have it repaired. They pay the claim and you forfeit the gun. And I call BS on that. I didn't think that was right, but we checked with the postal inspector, and that's exactly how it works. So this fella, he didn't want to give up his gun, so we're going to do that repair for him. It's not something I really am looking forward to, for sure. That's a difficult repair, and we're awful good at that repair, but it isn't one we really invite too often. But the gunsmith who sent it, unfortunately wasn't really stepping up to the plate to repair it for the guy, and I felt like since we could do it, we would, but we'll see how it turns out, and if it turns out good, maybe we'll even show you how we did it. So thanks for joining us today. I know this probably wasn't the most enjoyable episode, but if you're ever in a position you have to ship valuable firearms, I hope this is excellent information for you. And just expect that your firearm is going to be handled by a bunch of guerrillas dead set on destroying it, and package it accordingly. So thanks for joining us. Until next time, happy trails from Wyoming Armory in Cody, Wyoming.